and welcome, learners. Today, we will walk you through how a landfill works and what the inside of a landfill cell looks like if we were to cut it in half to view a cross-section. Now, you may first be asking, what is a landfill cell? A landfill cell is a well-built, well-engineered hole in the ground where trash is buried. A landfill can have several landfill cells over its lifespan. As you can see here in the aerial map of our Iowa City landfill, we have several different landfill cells over the years of operation, which is since the early 1970s. Each cell is named for the year it was constructed. So for example, FY02 means that the landfill cell was built in the fiscal year of 2002. Today, we will focus on just one landfill cell example, starting with what an active landfill cell looks like. An active cell is a landfill cell that is still receiving trash. So trash trucks empty their garbage loads into this hole, and we have our trained landfill operators actively working in this hole to compact and cover garbage. Up next, we will show you what a closed cell looks like, which is a landfill cell that is full and must be securely covered and closed. But for now, let's get into the specifics of an active cell. The image we are looking at here shows many layers in this cell, so let's walk through each layer from bottom to top. Starting at the bottom, we have the groundwater layer, which is water deep underground, followed by the normal subsurface layer, which is what we dig into to construct a new landfill cell. This consists mostly of topsoil, sand, and clay. Once we have the right-sized hole dug and compacted, the next step is to line the bottom of the cell with 4 feet of clay. Why do we use clay? Well, clay does a very good job preventing liquids from flowing through it, or in other words, it is not very permeable. On top of this clay layer is a black layer that you see here, known as the flexible membrane liner. This is a very well-engineered and strong plastic liner that seals the base of the hole with a geotextile layer that you can see here, built into the liner along the bottom to assist in filtering sediment. The clay and flexible membrane liner work to keep the leachate and garbage securely in the hole to reduce impacts on the surrounding environment and local water sources such as groundwater and streams. Moving right along, we will now talk about these round pipes you see here that are surrounded with a layer of gravel. These pipes are used to collect leachate, which is any liquid that touches garbage, otherwise known as garbage juice. It can be anything from harmless liquids and wasted food to toxic metals like mercury or pesticides. Since it has toxic or hazardous materials in the mix, leachate can be harmful to people, animals, and the environment. Therefore, we collect leachate in these pipes and send it to the wastewater treatment plant to be treated. Liquids will naturally flow downward and eventually make it to these pipes to be collected. It is important that these pipes do not get clogged because that could impact the leachate being collected and processed. This is where the drainage layer comes into play. The drainage layer that you see here is made of shredded tires, and its purpose is to stop solid garbage from settling down any further, while it allows the liquids to flow freely down to the leachate collection pipes. Now, we have not even gotten to the garbage layers yet, and this is mentioned to emphasize how much engineering and construction goes into correctly building a landfill cell. Once all these layers are in place, trash can be landfilled in this cell. And we can see as we move up the cell, several layers of garbage. In reality, there would be many more layers filling a landfill cell. But for the purpose of this exercise, we have spaced out just a few layers to explain how this works. There is a green outline around each garbage cell, or each garbage layer. The green lines represent the daily cover, which is usually either a spray-on cover or dirt. A daily cover is added to the garbage at the end of each day to secure it in place, which means less trash potentially blowing around and less environmental impact. As trash continues to be added to the landfill cell over time, gas collection pipes that we can see here are laid horizontally in the garbage as needed. These are perforated pipes, which means that there are small holes along the length of the pipes to allow the gas to flow into the pipes. You might be wondering what types of gases we are collecting. There's a mix of gases that form in a landfill cell, which is an environment with no air or light. The gas we are most concerned about is methane, which is a strong greenhouse gas. We'll discuss gas collection more when we delve into the closed landfill cell next. As this is an active cell, there is still more room for trash, so the top of this cell is still exposed. Once the landfill cell is at maximum size and we cannot landfill any more garbage in the cell, that is when we need to securely close the cell. In this image, we still see all the layers and components we talked about in an active cell, but we see that some of these protective layers, such as the flexible membrane liner and the clay, are wrapped completely around the top layer of the cell with a 4 feet thick finished cover. Let's circle back to gas collection. With the closed cell, we can now see that there is a gas line connecting all the horizontal lines, which leads us out of the cell and up to the gas well. This pumps the gas, keeping it moving down to the trunk line, which transports the gas to the flare. The flare is where we burn the gas at a very high temperature, which converts the methane to carbon dioxide, a less potent greenhouse gas. On the top of the covered landfill cell, seed is planted so that a mix of grasses can grow. When a landfill cell is closed, it often just looks like a grassy hill. But as we have discussed, there is a complex system going on below the surface that continues to collect gas and leachate for many years after a cell is closed. Thank you for joining us today to learn about the inner workings of a landfill cell. We've been illustrating with mostly diagrams, so we will end this lesson with an actual photo of an active landfill cell at our Iowa City landfill. To learn more about landfilling, waste reduction, and the environment, visit www.icgov.org/education.